But we now move to our second round of paper speakers, and I'm very proud to announce Councillor Elise Meschini. Elise is Chair of Greater Cambridge Partnership, delivering up to £1 billion to great infrastructure and over 44,000 new jobs in Cambridge. She's also the Deputy Leader of Cambridgeshire County Council. Elise, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much indeed. Thank you, Madam President, members, guests. It's a massive honour to be here. This is the first dispatch box anyone's ever given me. Sorry, what do I have to do? Sorry, apologies. We'll start again. This indeed remains the first dispatch box anyone's ever given me. And if it is to be the last, I will remember this for a while, and so will my parents. So thank you. In researching this motion, I have to say, I hope the House will forgive me for saying that at one point I just felt like coming here and just, saving you 10 minutes of having to listen to me and just go like this. But, maybe it's the Italian in me. And no, I am not on steroids, wherever you are. We do sort of tend to put a bit too much emphasis on hand gestures. So for the benefit of the House, let me rest my case on three main arguments. To deserve the confidence of this House, the government needs two. Number one, have control of its own backbench MPs. Number two, show that it is in control of the economy by having the confidence of the markets. And number three, measure up to the promises it makes by the outcomes it begets. And before I get into these points in more detail, I would like to reassure the House that while party political points may infiltrate my arguments in subtle ways, I intend to structure my intervention based on the principle that any administration, government or otherwise, should be judged by the parameters it sets itself. Smart administrations make this easy to do. They set targets that they already know they can achieve. They prepare the supporting evidence in advance of wheeling out policy so that if the element of surprise is to be exploited, for example, in terms of the news cycle, this does not come at the expense of credibility or indeed sanity. Not so smart administrations also make this easy to do by doing absolutely none of that, and we shall see which one this is. We come to the first point I was going to make, which is backbench MPs. Now, I'm no parliamentarian, as you know, but I do lead a Labour group. I have a chief whip. He happens to be here. I was actually not expecting him to be here, but there he is. And so I kind of understand the business of whipping, you sort of think, common sense. The PM and the Chancellor, they develop the policy, then they send their whips out, they scurry off in all directions, and they look for assurance that the number of possible rebels in the parliamentary party is not greater than half, this is where the maths get complicated, no greater than half the current parliamentary majority. If that reassurance is obtained, all well and good, and you can go public with your policy. If that reassurance is not obtained, then you sort of have to go back to square one, rinse, repeat, for as many times as it takes. Now, we have the honor of having Mr. Affolami here, who I look forward to hearing if he will explain what exactly happened this time and why the sequence of events actually seems to have gone completely backwards. So this led to a number of embarrassing events during party conference, no less, where the PM pre-recorded interviews where by the time they were aired, the categorical assurances given had been completely contradicted, twice in 48 hours. A U-turn on the 45p rate of income tax and another one on the timing of the financial bill and the OBR report. Why do these matter? Why do these matter? Because a third one is underway. Once again, not just backbench MPs like Michael Gove and Grant Shapps, but cabinet members like Penny Mordaunt have already spoken publicly about their disagreement with the PM and the Chancellor about the operating on non-pension benefits in line not with wages but with inflation. Yes, please?
Surely disagreement with backbench MPs and other colleagues will make more thoughts and make wise policy. Would you not agree with that?
Maybe or maybe. maybe, or maybe it makes you look like a bit of a nutter. I don't know. I'll leave it up to the House. But, if my cabinet were going out against me, I would not be happy. Neil, make a note. But, Anyway, the number of dissenting voices does suggest the backbench distaste for a cut in benefits is of a similar scale to that which forced the 45p U-turn, so expect another one. Grow the size of that financial hole where the funding for the promised tax cuts is supposed to be found. U-turns need not be fatal. Mrs. Thatcher had her own, absolutely. But this Prime Minister wooed her party obdurates as the most adamantine lady not for turning. And what kind of government is she going to run, where a 70-seat majority is not enough to avoid backbenchers' backseat driver under the full glare of the national media? Turning to my second point, the confidence of the markets. Now, a little turbulence, says the Chancellor after the reception of his growth plan, which crashed the economy. £300 billion wiped overnight from the combined value of the national stock and bond market, sent sterling spiralling down and gilts soaring, costing the Bank of England £65 billion to prop up pension funds. I am reminded of... Yes, please?
The Bank of England's only spent about £3 billion, not 65.
That is to date. That is to date. They will spend all of that by the 14th of October, I am told, and I'll come back on the 15th and tell you. And by the way, yes, I read the Guardian Live blog today. But anyway, yes, I was going to quote John McDonnell. When he was Shadow Chancellor, business leaders and bankers told him that they didn't like his plans because too much government borrowing would send the markets crashing. When he asked how to avoid that, they told him the markets do not like surprises. So how about this for a surprise, delivered by a government that seems to command no majority on its own benches, by a verbally incontinent chancellor who needs to learn the offhand remarks he happens to make when he's forgotten he's in a weekend TV studio, send shockwaves well beyond his comprehension. We believe in fiscal responsibility. A shell-shocked PM was forced to repeat over and over in a conference speech that was basically an exercise in, please do not fuck this up any further. Sorry, I was assured I could swear, and I will not.
Allowed to swear, that's fine.
I will not if I can't, but anyway. We believe in fiscal responsibility. The jury had packed their bags and left the courtroom a long time ago in pursuit of the bolted horse. To my third point, outcomes. I don't think we need to spend too much time repeating the promises that have been made. Growth, more money in an ordinary family's pockets, etc. and so forth. While the Prime Minister has ruled out changes to the triple lock on pensions, the typical family on universal credit, already around £1,500 short as a result of last October's £20 cut and April's lower than inflation operating, will now see their losses rise to £2,000. No family I know can afford to lose as much. And yes, it is very serious. And what about those with mortgages? As a result of the Chancellor's not a budget, interest rates shot up. Latest Bank of England forecast from this morning, 6%. They shot up and 1,600 mortgage products were withdrawn from the market. Mister, where are you? Does it matter what's in the growth plan? I have a mortgage. Yes, it fucking matters. Yes, please.
Surely the monetary policy is set by Bank of England, and that's an independent policy to the fiscal policy, which is set by the government. And in that aspect, the matter of mortgage rate is independent from government policy.
It does matter. It absolutely does matter. Thank God they are independent. May I remind you whose idea it was? I'm not going to say anything. You look it up. My hero, my absolute hero. Yes?
In favour of you, they're trying, this is the same government that also talked about the idea of rescinding and bringing back the independence of the Bank of England.
They have?
They would also be in control of such policies.
Pray to God they don't do that. Anyway, I have a mortgage. It does matter to me what it said in the growth plan. My pockets do not have more cash in them. And, the average family with a mortgage is seeing their payments spiraling in a way that absolutely dwarfs the already daunting energy bills. But hey, bankers are getting bigger bonuses, and venture capitalists are seeing restrictions lifted in terms of planning, labor, and environmental regulations. Those things matter. Even successful venture capitalists would have to admit that they did not get rich on their own. They have to hire workers whose education we, the British people, pay for. They have to travel on roads and railways that the state maintains. By the way, local government, mostly roads, and I can tell you it's a bloody hard job. Neil knows that again. So they travel on roads that we maintain, our taxes maintain, and they depend on a public health system that our taxes finance. Venture capital relies on social capital. Markets need to be underpinned by morals. This is not me, by the way, it's Gordon Brown, once again my hero. Public investment is needed to create the conditions for growth, and any sensible growth strategy has to offer more than tax cuts and deregulation. It has to support science, innovation, infrastructure, and skills, with the right powers in the right places to create internationally competitive clusters of industry. And it has to acknowledge an old but recently forgotten truth, that when the strong help the weak, we all get stronger. So, Madam President, this is where I leave it. A government which has not the confidence of its backbenchers, not the confidence of the markets, and judging by recent polls, not the confidence of the country. I beg to move that it does not have the confidence of this House. Thank you.